king of the Middlelands, Noddy Holder, once said so eloquently.
It's Christmas.
There you go, the sounds of any traditional British Christmas.
A couple of one too many eggnogs in there, eh?
Yeah. But I like to think it's a public service, you know, if anyone's listening from overseas and thinking, one day I'd like to go to England and spend a traditional Christmas day with a normal British family. Could have saved them a fortune there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, as chaotic as that was, I bet it's probably not far off at your house, is it, with the kids and everything?
Yes, and did we have that other rabbit when you came down?
No, you said that you just had the one, but it was a bit lonely and was following one of the cats around, or the cat was following it around.
Oh, yeah. So Peter Pan, he's older than Rose, so he's over 6, and their lifespan's about 8. So, you know, Karen was saying to me, you need to get him some company, especially over the dark hours of winter.
Yeah.
I was saying, well, you know, he might only live till 8. So his last year of solitude, you know, like in a care home staring out the window.
You're entering the Infinite Rabbit project where you get a rabbit, it lives for the last 2 years of one's life, and then a few years later you're doing the same again, and it just goes on and on.
Infinite Rabbit Project, great band name there, isn't it?
They're supporting clam chowder.
So I went on to Gumtree and went over to a house in Whittington to pick up a rabbit because the couple there had got 2 rabbits from Pets at Home, adopted 2, and they were told that they were 2 males, but they weren't. They were male and female. They had lots of bunnies, and they were just overrun with rabbits. So we took the lady rabbit off their hands, but they had loads of pets. Like, really nice couple, but they were a bit overrun with animals, you know, bearded dragons, guinea pigs. And as I was sort of buying this rabbit, they said, oh, these rabbits have been a pain. Oh, and they had a chipmunk. They had a chipmunk that had escaped, and they'd have to set up like a baby monitors and a camera to try and find it. And they kept seeing it it's like they go at 100 miles an hour, so they just kept seeing these flashes, yeah. But the best thing he said was like, oh, we've got this African grey parrot. He said, and all it does is mimic the kids. He says, so when I take the blanket off its cage, it just goes, no, and then does this. That's obviously the only 2 sounds that the kids make around the house.
Yeah.
But yeah, we came back with a rabbit for Peter Pan that Rose named Eliza in the car.
Oh.
So you have to keep them apart for a couple of weeks. They have to get used to each other. So I've had to separate the hutch out, and they get used to each other's smell and sounds until you can finally sort of introduce them to each other.
Have Peter's amorous days behind him, or has he been done?
He's been done, but it's not stopped him trying.
Oh, poor Eliza.
Yeah, she's gone from one madhouse to now being, you know, sexually sort of assaulted by an elderly male rabbit.
At least should be warm.
It's like being at your granddad's at Christmas.
Also wanted to thank you for inviting me down a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for all you were like a modern day Santa, an early Santa coming down with all these mystical, lovely treats.
Well, I hadn't been down before, so I thought I'd bring a couple of bottles down.
Yeah, the sherry and the bread. Well, we had the bread the next day with some soup. It was really nice.
Ah, good.
Karen had some as well. Yeah, really nice.
So yeah, it was fun, and got down and we went to the pub, and we came back and sat in the room where Ben's now broadcasting from, which is his big summer house shed type thing at the very bottom of his garden, which he promptly locked me in overnight.
I get into a routine of just leaving and locking the door. So
the thing that tickled me was you were very clear. You said, now after I've left, make sure you put the latch across on the door.
Yeah.
You're very, very clear about it, because you said otherwise you let the heat out and you'll get cold. So make sure you lock the door after me. Ben walks through the door and just immediately locks it behind him like there's nobody in there.
Yeah, and I did say, any trouble, just text me. I'll wake up. And I just saw it at 8 o'clock the next morning, 7 o'clock the next morning.
After I'd been pissing into empty Guinness cans for 8 hours.
Nice. It's probably worth a mention that I said to you, we'll just go up to the local pub as well. It'll be quiet enough, but don't worry. Open the doors, and it's the longest, loudest, drunkest wake you've ever been to in your life.
There was a wake on, wasn't there? What was it called, the pub? We should give them a shout out, really.
Oh, the Shire Oak.
The Shire Oak. They were very accommodating, weren't they? They came through. They did a thing that I've not seen since the 90s, where if there's a wake on or a party or something, and there's loads of food left, they come through and they say to everyone, go and get yourself a plate because it's only going to go to waste.
Well, yeah, which I did, which was fine. But, I just happened to be all dressed in black because I had black jeans on and a black coat and a black woolly hat.
Yeah.
And as I was silently picking up food off that sort of pool table where all the buffet food, I think the deceased immediate family was sitting just opposite me thinking, who is that guy?
Is he from the funeral home?
He likes tuna sandwiches, doesn't he?
Yeah, but no, it was good. It was very friendly. Every time I went out for a smoke, I came in through a different door. It seemed to be just constantly shifting doors and corridors.
Yeah.
But anyway, back onto Christmas. What sort of time do you find yourself getting up? Rose gets up at about 7 normally, doesn't she?
At 7, yeah, because that's what time she gets up for school during the week.
What time at Christmas? I used to get up about 3.
It'd be the same on Christmas Day. She's got a clock in her room, and she knows that she can't really get up before 7 because she just gets sent back to bed. So it'd be the same.
That's pretty good. Do you do all the books fizz in the morning, or are you straight on the homebrew or whatever?
It's a strange one, isn't it, Christmas Day, because it gives you that free reign to drink anything and everything as early as you possibly can.
Oh, yeah.
I find that there's been a lot of Christmas days where I've never actually felt really drunk because I've just sort of been on top up all day.
Yeah.
But then you think, I've been drinking slow gin, chocolate liqueur, desperados, you know what I mean? You think back of what you drunk.
Golden ale.
Oh, how did you drink that home?
Yeah, Ben sent me home with a bottle of his homebrew, which was...
What did you think?
It was perfectly fine, but it was a little bit unremarkable.
Yeah. To me,
it'd been better in the summer out in the sun because it'd been in the fridge for about a week and it was really cold. And I thought, what, out in the sun that'd be all right, but on a miserable.
So it wasn't disgusting then.
No, not at all.
Oh, that's the review I'm looking for.
Is that the flavour note you were going for?
Not shit. It's okay, isn't it? Because I had about 3 pints of it. It gave me a headache, but I can just taste this homebrew thing. But it might just be the yeast. So
we don't start on the booze until we've done presents. So we kind of get up and have a coffee and toast, and then we get all the presents out the way. In case you've got to remember anything that's got to go back. I find that if you've already had a couple of sherries, by the time you're opening the presents, if anything's got to go back, you can't remember where it's from and where you've put the receipt. After you've been told 17 times, I'm putting the receipt in here. Look, having it waved in front of your face.
Put that next voucher on the shelf, because else it will get tidied up with all the packaging and you'll lose it.
No,
that's what we get.
What time do you have your Christmas dinner?
I don't know, because we've gone out for it the last few years, but this year I'll be cooking it in, so not too early.
You'll be cooking it in?
Yeah.
Oh, is it your area, Christmas dinner?
Yeah, I do. When we do have a Sunday roast, it's usually Karen does the odd one, but I cook it. So I've done a few in the past.
It's all right. It's just a bit of a
so
slog, isn't it? A big meal like that.
Yeah, it is. And I suppose it's just trying to do something a little bit different. There's one year where we sort of hollowed out red onions and put breadcrumbs and cheese in and things like that. And, like we're frying up sprouts with a bit of bacon. It's just trying to do anything that's just a little bit of a variation.
No.
Not for me.
No,
none of that foreign muck.
Karen keeps putting fucking chestnuts in with sprouts. I like sprouts. I just think the more you do with them, the less I like
God
them.
Intended.
I like them au natural.
Yeah. Sprouts are like baby bells, aren't they? They look like they've been caught in a net, like one of those out in the woods. The net scoops up a load.
Like Ewoks. I'd never had cauliflower cheese on a roast dinner or a Christmas dinner until I started seeing Karen, and all her family do it, and I'm quite used to it now. But
When I do a Sunday dinner, we have cauliflower cheese, Yorkshire puddings, and stuffing. They're like the extra bits to it. Yeah. But if you go to Toby Carvery, they're all over the cauliflower cheese now as well. You see.
the
Yeah.
only thing I remember about a carvery was I remember when they were understaffed and there was only one person on the counter. You could see what sauces they had, and you could ask the woman or the guy if they could go and check in the kitchen if they had another sauce. Like if they've got no bread sauce, you say, do you mind going and asking in the kitchen if they've got any bread sauce? And then while they're gone, you can fill your pockets with roast potatoes.
You'd have to be wearing like a low-grade pair of trousers, so wouldn't you? Because you'd be ready for the oil marks on your pot.
Yeah, well, you could line them with cat shit bags, couldn't you?
Yeah, perfect. Like you line a bin.
Like you line a bin.
Yeah.
Double bag it.
I think there's adequate chance to mound up with the roast potatoes, unless you're a really sort of big fan of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd probably rather have roast potatoes than anything else on the plate, to be honest, on the dinner.
We had this French woman that used to work on site with us as a stonemason, and I used to ask her like what she finds strange about English culture, and she said it's the fact that you need to have a sauce with every different type of meat. You know, apple sauce with pork, cranberry sauce with turkey,
HP with everything.
yeah, horseradish with beef. You know, she went through them all, and I thought, oh yeah. Yeah.
What are your opinions on puddings? I like to eat so much main Christmas dinner that I don't want anything for about 4 hours.
As a young child and a young man, I found Christmas pudding abhorrent. I thought it was awful. I didn't understand, like a lot of things that we talked about in the past, blue cheese, tonic water, olives. You know, like these things taste like poison. But I've got older. You know, I've moved on to the Christmas cake a little bit, and now, just lately, now I'm in my 40s, Christmas pudding, so it's okay, yeah.
Don't mind a tiny little bit of it.
Yeah, because I used to be all about the Viennetta on Christmas Day.
When do you do your presents, in the morning or after?
Well, the kids are allowed a cheap one, on the Christmas Eve night, just before they go to bed.
Oh, that's a European thing. It's like they do it in Germany and Scandinavia, I think.
And then...
I think so.
And then it'll be the presents will be laid out in the living room under the tree for them in the morning. But obviously the kids are a bit older now, so it'll only be Rose that's be sort of really excited about all that.
Oh.
And then because we've been out for Christmas dinner the last few years, so it's going to be nice just staying in, because it's like having somewhere. You know, last year we were at Butlins, and the year before we went out for a pub, and it
was... went to Butlins for Christmas.
Yeah. Or Auschwitz with Guinness, that's what I like to call it. And then Boxing Day is just sort of a real lounge around day, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Like if you think of Christmas Day, you never drink and probably eat quite as much as you do on any other day, do you? So,
well, if you forget to get a big box of Andrews in, it's a mostly sitting around on the toilet day.
Yeah, but Boxing Day.
Yeah. I get a big tub of Andrews, and I set an alarm on my phone every 90 minutes. I have a glass of it.
What's Andrews? Like the antacid stuff?
No, it used to be called Andrews liver salts. It keeps, if you're constipated, it keeps everything moving. So I set an alarm on my phone, and every once in a while it beeps. I go and have a glass of it, and I'm good for 2 or 3 days.
If you're in company, you should tell people about this alarm, and then when it beeps, you can go hey up and wink at them. Time to go. Make it like a big thing about it.
Yeah. If I don't go now, I won't go tomorrow. What about Christmas sweets? The big, your big boxes that you get.
I've got to say the all-time favourite is the long industrial tube of jelly tots. It's always a winner for me. Do you know the ones I mean? It's the ones that look like they could keep a poster in them. That size.
What about your ones that the traditional big box sweets?
Oh, like the chocolates and stuff.
Yeah,
like
you've got.
Chip. Heroes, haven't you, in Celebrations?
Heroes, Celebrations, Roses, and Quality Street are probably your big 4 players.
Which is the one that's got bounties in?
It was Celebrations, and I think they're taking them out. Because they've
Well,
stopped
yeah,
doing Bounty, haven't they?
there's been a big furore about it, hasn't there? About, how no one really liked the bounties and stuff.
Yeah, I did.
And I don't know if you sent me it, but one man had done an audit each Christmas and he'd written down the percentage of bounties marked.
Fantastic.
He'd obviously had far too much time on his hands, but he thought, they were already underrepresented, bounties. So
Yeah.
he thought they should be left in.
So did I. I mean, you've got...
What, do they not make them anymore?
I don't... Well, if they've not stopped, they are stopping, the full-size ones, the bounties. But in celebrations, you've got Snickers, Twix are good, Mars, Maltesers, Milky Way, Bounty, Galaxy.
You're not keen? The silky slipperiness of Galaxy.
I don't mind Galaxy, but it's like dairy milk. It's just... You just expect more at Christmas, don't you, than just a block of fucking chocolate.
I do like dairy milk, but I'd like the fruit and nut, you see. Got a bit of added twist to it.
Yeah, it's got a bit of texture, hasn't it? And the Maltesers that you get, they're not actual Maltesers. They're like...
Yeah, I know what you mean, yeah.
They've got little bits of Malteser.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this. I thought about this, actually, while I was watching Oppenheimer.
It's relevant, isn't it?
Why can the proper all-malt centre only be applied to a sphere? I think there'd be something genuinely thrilling about a rugby ball-shaped proper Malteser with an all-malt centre.
It must be a production issue. Must be. You know what I mean? It's got to be.
I think that'd be magical.
Perhaps they want to keep it exclusive. Perhaps they want to keep that honeycomb centre predominantly to a sphere rather than an oval shape.
Even if they only put one in per 1,000 or something, it'd be a result, wouldn't it?
I can't cope with a full crunchy bar. I can only deal with it in the small bite sizes, things in the bags, like the rocks. I think they're too much.
Yeah. It's a lot of sugar, isn't it? That's Heroes. Crunchy, Twirl, Double Decker, get in. Cream Egg, Eclair, Dairy Milk, Whisper, Fudge.
Oh, okay.
Probably the biggest selection you get in Heroes.
Yeah, because Celebrations are all Mars chocolate made in Slough.
Mars of Slough.
And your Heroes is your Cadbury's then. They're all Cadbury's, aren't they? Yeah.
Double Decker.
Oh, I had one yesterday. I took it out of Rose's selection box without her knowing. And it was amazing.
It's a quality choc in it, Double Decker.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Fudge second.
Oh, a bit too sugary for me.
I like dairy fudge. Do you remember the old advert?
A Finger of Fudge.
Finger of Fudge, where Cadbury's tried to persuade the nation that fudge o'clock was a thing. With the two kids playing, and one of them keeps moving his conker because he's looking outside, and there's a woman out there distributing fudges, possibly his mother. Do you remember it?
No, I don't. Fudge o'clock's never going to work. It's just not got a...
I was thinking, I was leaving school. There was no one waiting outside to fucking hand me fudges.
Well, if there was, you'd be very suspicious of him or her. Yeah,
and that gurning conker chimp kid at the end in his little urchin clothes, finished with him sort of going, Nice. He's probably fucking CEO of Argos or something now.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Cream Egg, not interested. Fondant centres. Fondant is just
far too sweet.
Yeah, if you've ever made fondant, it's just literally sugar and water.
I need someone to explain. To Karen, that's not me, that they only bring out cream eggs on the run up to Easter. Like, you can't get them any other time of year. Because if I go to the shop, I'll go, do you want anything? She'll go, get me a cream egg. I have to come back into the house from the door and say, look, we've been through this. They don't do them. Like, apart from the run up to Easter.
You see, if you're any kind of husband, you'd buy a load at Easter and you'd keep them in your car so you could produce them whenever she demanded one.
But then they'd go funny like Christmas tree chocolate does next to the radiator, doesn't it?
And wouldn't. It's just literally sugar and water in the middle.
But the chocolate, when you unwrap it, it's got like that white dust over it if you keep it too long.
It gets a bloom on it, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
But it's made by Americans now, I think. So it's probably good for 1,000 years or something.
What, Cadbury's?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone moaned when they changed the recipe to the cream egg the other year.
I used to work with a guy that worked at Cadbury's, and he said when they did the night shift, any shift actually, they could help themselves to as much chocolate as they wanted. But Dave on the boost aisle always used to overdo it, and the in-house doctor used to get called over the tannoy. Can the doctor come to the boost aisle? Dave's overdone it again. And the doctor would
Bring the Andrews.
and they'd say, how many boosts have you had? And he would have had about 6 or something, And he'd be keeled over holding his stomach.
Dave's boost bound.
Yeah.
So cream eggs are shit. Yeah. I just think if you like sugar that much, just fucking eat sugar. Save yourself some money. Especially if you live on your own. Fucking no one's going to see. Treat yourself. It's Christmas. What do you think of the eclair? The toffee with the chocolate in the middle. It's like
nice.
It's wrong way around, isn't it? It's like an inside-out chocolate.
I wouldn't use it leisurely. I'd use it for long journeys. The eclair,
like a car sweet.
Yeah, to kill some time at work or something like that. I wouldn't sit in the living room with them.
I can't go near anything like that. I don't mind them. I don't mind an eclair, but I just think, the risk at this time of year of biting into an eclair or something and breaking a crown or pulling a filling out, it'd be absolutely fucking catastrophic at Christmas, wouldn't it? So give him a wide berth.
You've done an internal risk assessment on eclairs for Christmas, then? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. It's the same as we'll get on to Quality Street, I think, later. The toffee penny used to be a favourite of mine, but
oh fucking hell, yeah, they're odd.
And the stick of toffee with chocolate around it in gold.
Yeah. They're odd.
Yeah, I love the things, but. If anything's going to stop me eating 17 pounds of heavy cheese at Christmas, it's not going to be a fucking toffee penny. So, yeah, they stay unloved at the bottom of the tub these days.
See, any chocolate that I get, I don't eat much of it chocolate, but it goes straight in the freezer. So I eat it out of the freezer, like slabs of dairy milk and stuff like that. I want it to be like glass when I break it.
I like that on Easter eggs. I like the textural snap of Easter egg chocolate out of the fridge.
Yeah.
Roses. These are my least favourite of the classics.
Now that's made by Cadbury's again, if I'm correct.
Is it Cadbury's? There's a slight whiff of death about roses, I feel.
Yeah. They are associated with the elderly and infirm, aren't they?
It's there's a definite feeling of this is your last treat on this earth.
It's like someone said, look, Audrey from next door's dying. Take her some roses round, will you?
Yeah. Soft centres only.
Yeah, the strawberry cream is too much.
Oh, they're just a selection of sort of nondescript pastes. Some of them were fruity, some of them were nutty. Just all of them fucking ghastly.
Is it the purple ones in roses, though, isn't it? The big purple one?
No, it's the purple ones in Quality Street.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, the big purple one.
Right, actually. Yeah, that's my favourite.
Yeah, and they only put 2 of them in a box because I think it was just them wanting to start fucking fights on Christmas Day. You get about 6 or 8 of the other ones, but they only put 2 purple ones in.
And the green triangles I've always quite liked as well. They're a bit obscure.
That's just like a block of chocolate again, isn't it? That's like your Dairy Milk or your Galaxy block.
There's something a bit...
I can't get excited about
There's something a bit strange in. I can't remember what it's called. Praline. Is it praline?
Praline I quite like.
Yeah.
There used to be one of them that had praline in, and it was like it had a bit of a snap to it when you...
Yeah, that's the one, yeah.
But it wasn't hard. It was sort of like the inside of a dime bar.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Oh, Dairy Milk have been doing Dairy Milks infused with dime.
Ooh.
They're nice.
I like them little tiny individual dime bars that you can bite all the chocolate off. I'm not normally one for, people say, how do you eat this? Oh, I pick all the fucking chocolate off one side because I'm fucking 6. But I like doing it with dime bars.
I put a Kit Kat in the microwave once and the wafer burst into flames. And they couldn't get the smell out of the kitchen for about a month.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
I put a joint in the microwave once to dry it out, and it dried it out and lit it.
Perfect.
It was fantastic. Right, onto Quality Street. I've put sea roses because, to be honest, there's not many of these I like either. Coconut's all right. It's like in Quality Street, it's like a chocolate coconut. It's not white coconut, is it?
Yeah. And one of them is they've got blue wrappers and they always get left at the end, don't they?
Yeah, I think that's the coconut one actually. What else we've got? Coconut, passable fudge, toffee finger, and the penny. Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah, I think that's about it with Quality Street. So, do you get any of these? Or
no, not intentionally. I might buy them for someone, but I'm not a big chocolate eater. I go for a lot of little mini phases.
Right, we're not doing the usual quiz where I have props and wheels and things. We're just going to have a very casual little quick quiz off the back of the sweets.
Oh.
Which is it a song or is it a sweet?
Oh, like it.
Are the following delicious sounding treats a bygone flavour from either Quality Street Heroes or Roses, or are they song titles? So are these sweets that have been discarded by the sweet companies?
Right. I didn't know there were so many.
I will say that some of these songs, when they are a song, some of them are by hip-hop artists, so absolutely fucking anything is possible.
True.
With that caveat, we'll go straight into number one, which is Savoy Truffle.
Savoy Truffle.
Savoy Truffle. Is it a song? Is it a sweet?
I'd say it's a sweet.
Oh, it's a song, and it's by the Beatles.
Oh, bloody hell! It's on the White. It's on the White album as well. It's on the same album as Dear Prudence and Why Don't We Do It in the Road and Rocky Raccoon and things. Yeah, Savoy Truffle. I know I'd heard it from somewhere.
Means nothing to me. I'll take your word for it. Chocolate Symphony.
It's because you'd said hip-hop artists, you see.
Oh, no, they're not all hip-hop artists.
Oh, okay.
Number 2, Chocolate Symphony.
That sounds like an album by Gabrielle. Chocolate Symphony?
Yeah.
That's got to be a song because it's too vague to be a sweet, isn't it? Because
Are you going with song?
I'm going to go with song, yeah.
Correct. Bee Gees. Number 3.
You could be a quizmaster in a pub. Battle of the Boyne, 1947. Bee Gees.
And next up is the picture round where you can win a lovely box of meat. Number 3, Apricot Delight.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that was ever a sweet. No, I can't think of any instance where sweet company have used peach or apricots.
So you're going with song?
I'm going to go for song again because I think you're going to have thrown me by putting 3 songs in to start with.
Quality Street.
No wonder it's discontinued. Prune Surprise.
Prune Surprise. Onion Eclair. Number 4, Cocoa Butter Kisses.
Well, obviously cocoa butter is a very popular, well-branded moisturiser. So I'm going to go for song.
Correct. Dua Lipa, whatever one of those is.
Ah, yeah. I like Dua Lipa.
Number 5, Nuts About Caramel.
Gotta be a sweet, isn't it?
Yeah, Heroes. Number 6, Evening Coconut. Always had to come off.
It's gotta be a song. And if it is a song, I need to hear it. What the situation was where a man or woman said, Evening Coconut.
Well, it's by Neil Young, so you can imagine that it might not have been entirely straight-minded when he wrote that.
Do you think he was
particular hit?
Do you think he was talking to that coconut, or do you think it was
a coconut to be consumed in the evening?
Yeah. Wonder what the truth is behind that.
Perhaps he was being quizzed on the appropriate time of day to consume certain nuts. Breakfast Brazil.
Lunchtime macadamia.
Lunch cashew. Evening coconut. Number 7, Chateau Nougatine.
It's got to be a sweet, and that's it. Chateau Nougatine. It can't be a song, can it? It's a song by Eminem.
What are you going for?
Sweet.
No, it's a song by Chantal Goya.
Oh.
Whoever the fuck she is. I could have really researched this a bit better, but anyway, this is what we've got.
It's a great song title. I've got to give it to her.
Black Cherry Cream is number 8.
That's got to be a sweet. Or it's not. If it's not, it's a song by Prince.
I know the one you mean. Yes, it's a sweet. It's a Roses. It's a long forgotten Roses sweet.
Black Cherry Cream. I bet that was nice.
Yeah.
Because last year we had a Black Forest Gatto on my birthday, and that's a forgotten 80s.
Oh, I love a Black Forest Gatto.
Nice.
King of cakes,
really
that.
Nice. Yeah.
Next one.
Yeah.
Number 9, Prison Women.
Can't see it being a marketable sweet. really.
Well,
You know?
you've got to remember that some of these sweets, like Quality Street, are 100 years old now. You know, they're different times, weren't they?
Different times back then, yes. But no, Prison Women, definite song.
Definite song by REO Speedwagon.
Oh, nice.
Number 10, Caramel Velvet.
Oh, it's got to be a sweet, hasn't it?
Roses.
Yeah.
Oh, it's on a roll. Number 11, Chunky Truffle.
I'm going to go song with that. I could see it being like a, disparaging remark about someone.
No, it's a sweet. Roses.
Oh, fucking hell.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
That's got to be a sweet. I can't see how that can be a song title.
Well, you can't see it, but it is. It's a song by someone called Cupcake. Who is,
I thought you were going to say...
I believe he's one of the rappers.
I thought you were going to say Electric Light Orchestra.
Yeah. That was number 12. Number 13, Turkish Delight.
Obviously a sweet. One of my favourites.
A bit of a trick on this. It is a sweet, but it's also a song by a hip-hop artist called Little Simp.
Oh, right. Do like Turkish Delight. Do you?
No. Tastes like soap.
Yeah. But yeah, that's why I like it.
Delicious soap. Number 14, Gooseberry Cream.
Oh, it's got, hang on, just going back, it's got rose hip in it, hasn't it, Turkish Delight? That's why it gives it its sort of floral, sort of soapy.
Also, Little Simp is actually a rose hip hop artist.
Brilliant. What's the next one?
Number 14, Gooseberry Cream.
You can't, you simply can't make a gooseberry that sweet. Surely. But then again, it was different times. So perhaps it was an after the war type sweet. So I'm going to say sweet.
Quality Street.
They did a gooseberry cream.
Gooseberry Cream, yeah.
Wow.
Number 15, Almond Grove.
I think I used to live there at number 4. Yeah, sweet.
No, it's a song by Cracker.
Oh.
Number 16.
What, the detective played by
Robbie Coltrane. Number 16, Brazilian Darkness.
Song, gotta be.
It's a sweet.
Oh.
Roses.
Brazilian Darkness. Oh, yeah, it's probably got the Brazil nut, isn't it? With dark wrapped in dark chocolate.
Number 17, Let My Nuts Go.
It's got to be 50 Cent or someone.
It's by a chap called Lil Jon.
Oh, right.
There's a few Lils in the hip-hop world, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll give you that one. Toffee Deluxe is number 18.
Sweet.
Yep, Quality Street. Number 19, Nuts About Caramel.
Is it me or does a lot of these include the word nuts? Nuts About Caramel, got to be a sweet.
Absolutely, Heroes.
Yeah.
And last one, number 20, Caramel Kisses.
Got to be a song by a woman.
You'd be right. Song by Faith Evans.
Nice.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 out of 20.
That's not bad.
It's not bad, is it, that? Give
I always
yourself
like
a
to
small
get
ripple of applause.
Yeah, as long as I get over halfway, you know.
Right, let's have a Christmas film that isn't actually a Christmas film.
Why is it considered a Christmas film? Because it was released around Christmas or because of the sentiment behind it?
Mostly because I decided it was when I told you to watch it.
Oh, right.
So the film that we're talking about is called The Fisher King.
Starring Robin Williams and Jeff Bridges, isn't it?
Yeah, made in 1991.
Yeah, 91. Set in New York, isn't it?
Yeah, Jeff Bridges is what they used to call a shock jock, isn't he? Like a kind of Howard Stern-y, sort of angry, shouty DJ. You know, does a lot of drugs, lives fast, and one night he gets a caller on the radio show and he has a bit of a rant at him and it leads to an incident, doesn't it? Out in the real world, and, you know, that he's kind of almost directly responsible for, isn't he, from what he said on his show.
He gives the caller the go-ahead to go and commit an act, so to speak.
Yeah.
Quite a violent one. And then that sort of ends his career, doesn't it?
Yeah, it goes completely off the rails, doesn't it?
Because when he
just starts drinking, disappears from showbiz.
And, goes from sort of a plush apartment in this upstate New York to living sort of in a woman's sort of shop, isn't he, upstairs?
Above a video shop, isn't it?
But isn't that, that woman's such a big part of the film, because everyone that he worked with, his bosses and everyone at the company, at the radio show, and all his friends at the time, obviously sort of ditched him because of what happened.
Yeah.
And she, when you sort of see him in the aftermath of it, she's the only one that really sort of gives him any time of day.
Gives him any time of day, yeah. Mercedes Rule, she was called. She won Best Supporting Actress.
Oh, did
that.
she? Yeah. Right.
Yeah, it was the only Oscar it got. It won quite a lot of awards, but that was the only Oscar it got.
Oh, just for her in that supporting act?
Yeah. I mean, she is sensational, isn't it?
Yeah, because so when Jeff Bridges is sort of down and out and he's changed a lifestyle, he's sort of at his lowest ebb, isn't he?
Yeah.
And he's about to sort of top himself, isn't he, in this sort of desolate bit of wasteland under a bridge.
Yeah, he's on the dock's edge, isn't he?
Yeah, and then two lads turn up and decide to sort of help him out with his misery, as in like make him suffer more, and he's rescued then, isn't he, by Robin Williams and his sort of band of homeless friends,
merry band of nutcases who live in this. It's almost like they've got a sort of sub society, haven't they? They've got, you've got the shiny world where people are kind of well to do, and then you've got this level below where the homeless people live, and Robin Williams is one of them.
Yeah,
isn't he?
And when you first meet Robin Williams, he's very, very intense. He's obviously, something's happened in his life that has made him go sort of mad, hasn't it? And
he's clearly,
some of the scenes,
he thinks he's a knight of the realm on the search for the Holy Grail, doesn't he?
Yeah. It's set in early 90s New York, and it's the director's Terry Gilliam. Yeah, who also directed 12 Monkeys. So there's some aspects of The Fisher King that are quite similar to 12 Monkeys, because they show this sort of awful underbelly of society, as it was back then. Because I've read a lot, whereas like New York and big cities in America were at their worst time in the late 80s and early 90s, before it was all sort of cleaned up, gentrified. The police sort of got a hold on the crime. So you see these sort of deaths every time they walk around the street in Fisher King. There's litter everywhere, isn't there? It's dark, it's moody. There's always a chance that they're going to bump into some sort of pocket of violence at any given point. A bit like, when 12 Monkeys, a woman's trying to help Bruce Willis sort of escape from the people, in the past that are trying to get him. So they're all in, it's like dingy areas, dingy hotels. It's sort of this horrible sort of underbelly, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's very similar in that way.
Yeah, and Jeff Bridges wakes up after getting pissed with them all. He wakes up on the floor of Robin Williams. Well, it's not an apartment, is it?
He lives in the basement.
Boiler. Yeah, it's a basement boiler room. And you realise that the incident which Jeff Bridges caused on his radio show has also kind of randomly affected Robin Williams. And that's kind of the thing. Life's kind of thrown them together, hasn't it?
Yeah.
The two people, one who's kind of caused a thing, and one who's kind of in a position where he's completely lost his mind and lost everything in his life because of the thing. And the redemption is Jeff Bridges kind of starts to feel like if he can help Robin Williams get back on track in his life, then perhaps his own life might start to get a bit better. The friendship comes later on, doesn't it? At first, it's kind of very, he's doing it for purely selfish reasons.
Yeah, he's thinking if he helps Robin Williams out, he can, get his moral compass back realigned, can't he? To then try and sort of get on with his life and get out of the situation he's in, which is what it starts as. And at one point, he thinks he's done that, doesn't he? He sets Robin Williams' character up with a woman, and they go on a date, and he thinks, right, I've got him on his feet, back in some sort of sense of reality. And he actually returns, he rings his old agent up, doesn't he, and returns to his old life. And you think, oh, right.
Yeah, because he goes back into the office and they're pitching him an idea, aren't they, about a show, about a sitcom that they think he'd be good for, where he's saying, it's about homeless people. This guy's one of this group of homeless people. but the happy homeless people, you know, they like being on the streets. And by this point, Jeff Bridges has actually seen actual homeless people out and how fucking miserable it is. And he just thinks, this entire world that I'm trying to get back into is just horse shit, isn't it?
Yeah, and he actually
it's just all
he walks
bullshit.
out the office almost immediately, doesn't he, when they pitch him that idea, and goes back looking for Robin Williams.
But he's obsessed with Robin Williams. Is obsessed with Amanda Plummer, who was in.
Oh yeah, what a strange character she is.
She's kind of a little squirrely character, isn't she? Yeah, she was Honey Bunny. I'll execute every motherfucking last one of you in the diner. Yeah. No way. Yeah. No way. So Robin Williams, through his daily, rooting through skips and bins and stuff on the street, has spotted this woman regularly, and he just follows her around, doesn't he? Doesn't ever interact with her, watches her from afar, sees her come out of work, she buys a book at the shop on the corner, goes for lunch, goes back to work, and when he tells her all this stuff. Now, most women, what we know about stalking in sort of modern day times, would freak out and probably have nothing to do with him. But she finds it endearing, doesn't she? She likes the fact that he's been watching her constantly. Yeah, kind of. But I mean, she's quite an odd character, isn't she? But he follows her through Grand Central Station at one point. Do you remember that scene? Yeah. And as he's watching her go through the main hall at Grand Central Station, people are bumping into her and stuff like that, and everyone's rushing to get where they're going, and it's all very impersonal. But there's this on top of the clock, there's like a glitter ball, isn't there? Yeah. That's spinning round. And through Robin Williams' eyes, as he's watching her, it turns into a ballroom, doesn't it? And everyone starts waltzing with each other. And he's sort of moving his way between the crowd, isn't he? Yeah, whilst all these people are twirling. It's fucking brilliant. They actually closed Grand Central Station between 8 o'clock at night and 5:30 the next morning when the first commuter train started, and they put massive lights outside the windows so it just looked like 5 o'clock at tea time, and they just filmed them waltzing and waltzing and waltzing all night for about 6 hours. No way. And that's it. It gets to the end. Ends really positively, doesn't it? Yeah, because Jeff Bridges the character's vile when you first meet him, don't you? Yeah. And then you only warm to him slightly when you realise that he's helping Robin Williams just to fuel his own sanity and make him feel good again. But it takes him a long time to sort of turn round and grasp Robin Williams' world, and it really makes him a better person, doesn't it? Yeah. Yeah, it's fantastic. If it's like I say, it's not an actual Christmas film, but it's definitely got Christmassy themes. And if you can't face Morecambe and Wise or the two Ronnies, when it gets to about 9 o'clock on Christmas Day, if you can find the Fisher King somewhere, you're gonna have a good time. Yeah, definitely.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
The Edge of Everything.
I think it was called. It. Yeah, because one of his friends sort of makes a point of saying that's how he sort of lives his life, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Damien Hirst, isn't it?
Well, it's I think it's on Prime actually. This documentary. It's not to be confused with a program he did where he was in America, sort of pole hustling. Did you ever see it? I think that was a series, though, wasn't it?
No, I didn't see that. Also, not to be confused with The Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah, you'll be disappointed. So the Ronnie O'Sullivan, The Edge of Everything. It's the camera crew follows him in one particular year. Only a couple of years ago, and obviously he's getting into his 40s now, but as it follows him on this
nearly in his 50s, he's about 48.
As it follows this on this tour, it's all leading up to the World Championships, of which he's already won it 6 times. But Stephen Hendry, who features a lot, has won it 7. So this gets mentioned a couple of times. And it's sort of, you flip between modern day and him doing the UK Championships and these other competitions. It's all sort of leading up to the Worlds. But it cuts back to his childhood and and his relationship with his dad, who at a very early age, his dad went to prison for murder, didn't he?
Yeah.
And how that affected his life. And it was massive, because it was dad that got him into snooker. His dad changed his mentality from just sort of, oh, I'm just going to enjoy snooker, to, no, son, you can really win something here.
He pushed him hard, didn't he?
Yeah, there wasn't anything too overbearing in a way. It was just to make him believe in himself to a point, like, you can go out and beat these people, don't have any fear. Because he was sort of quite a quiet boy, wasn't he, when he was younger?
Yeah, shy lad.
Quite withdrawn, yeah. And there were parts of it where you saw him sort of on this modern sort of tour, and you're considering how much money he has. You think, like, him and his agent, it must have been choice, because he obviously could afford very swanky hotels if he wanted to. But a lot of the shots of him in Llandudno and places like that, it was almost, there was camera shots from him down a long corridor, and it was like shots of Ronnie eating breakfast on his own in sort of a really quite, not a rundown hotel, but an old one, wasn't it? Yeah.
And I think they probably stay in them because it's just handy for the actual, rather than being in a swanky place across town and then having to get to the venue. It all sort of added to them trying to show that on tour it can be a lonely place. And, he's isolated because he's on the phone a lot, isn't he? So it just shows that he's there on his own. Yeah, it really
he's on the
is.
phone to someone that you never sort of see who's on the phone to. And it's almost like that film with Mickey Rourke, the wrestler, how they sort of shown this sort of old school wrestler, this tour. It's quite a lonely existence, and it reminded me a little bit of that, But yeah, so it flipped back and forth to his early days and building up the confidence and the relationship with his dad, and then this sort of the modern tour leading up to the World Championships, and snapshots, talking heads of other famous players like Stephen Hendry, who at one point said that while he was still playing, but perhaps to the end of his career, he'd heard about Ronnie on the circuit, knew that there was a young lad coming up that was playing really well, that was shit hot, and he does this thing about how he got ready for this match with Ronnie and got himself mentally and physically ready. And then Ronnie turned up and played the whole game 90% of the time with his left hand, didn't he? And he said,
his wrong hand.
His wrong hand beat him. And he said, how could I have prepared for that this kid was just going to turn up and just play with his different hand and then still beat me, Just amazing, wasn't it? To think that Ronnie was so good with both hands, be ambidextrous like that, to be a genius, and then just be able to put the cue in his other hand. And
totally. Well, if you've ever played snooker on a 12-foot, a full-size table, and like me, you're not very good at it with your proper hand. You just forget about doing it the other way around. But I think it's just fantastic that you can be at the top of a sport for 30 years. I mean, there's nothing else where you can, is there?
No.
I mean, I know, fair enough, it's not a physically athletic sport, it's a very mentally draining.
Other players, other great players, Hendrys, Steve Davis, people like that, they have significantly declined in their 40s. So Ronnie interviewed it recently because he won the UK Championship, didn't he? And he said,
watched all that.
He said it's me that keeps thinking about my age and whether I'm still good enough. But he said, but I still seem to be doing all right. So.
Well, I looked into. I was trying to find. There's not a lot out there, to be honest. But I was trying to find things about health conditions that long-term professional snooker players have. To see if there's anything about the sport that perhaps does you any harm, and it doesn't. It doesn't seem to. There's quite a few have had cancer. The snooker players, Jack Lazowski, Ali Carter's had it twice, two different ones.
That'd be from all the pre-2007 playing snooker in snooker halls full of fag smoke, wasn't it? Do you know?
Yeah. He had lung cancer was one of them.
Just like Roy Castle got cancer from inhaling smoke through his trumpet, from playing inside. It's true.
You blow out through a trumpet, you don't suck in.
You have to breathe in at some point. He'd inhale all that fag smoke into his trumpet. You research it.
Oh, God, we're terrible people. Jimmy White, You know, he had cancer at one point. Paul Hunter, you know, terrible. He died very young from it. Willie Thorne, leukemia. But, you know, as much as there isn't anything that snooker seems to, you know, give you, any kind of condition, there's quite a few that suffer with the mental side of it.
Yeah, which Ronnie obviously is, you know, he talks about it a lot in this documentary, doesn't he? Which is good. You know, he says, like, I was talking about this 20 years ago, way before a lot of other, you know, sportsmen and high-profile public figures do now. It's seen as the norm now, isn't it? Whereas obviously it wasn't back then.
Mark Selby, the last few years, he's been struggling like mad with it.
Yeah. So, and I think Ronnie coming out and talking about it quite openly has helped, hasn't it? Because they showed him conceding games when he still had like another 10 francs to play.
I'm thinking about Mark Selby, who's been struggling the last few years.
Yeah.
It's better that at least you're struggling with it once your career's going, because if, you know, when you were first starting out and you didn't have a pot to piss in and you couldn't afford the best care, if it had happened to him then, he'd just never been able to have a snooker career.
Yeah.
Whereas he's a big name in it now and he's made a bit of money, so he, you know, if anyone can get medical help that will help them, he can afford to do that.
Yeah, it's the same as the other guy we've talked about on previous podcasts, Dave Gilbert. He's suffered, I think, mentally as well with certain aspects of his life and so on. So, you know, as clear-cut as a lot of these new players are, it's good. You know, Ronnie's like such an interesting person, like that whole documentary and the way it was shot. You know, you're on it with him, and then, aren't you? You know, it holds your interest all the way through.
Yeah, like I say, you've got to be doing it for such a long time. To, you know, he's won everything. He's the on paper and to watch the best player that there's ever been, Ronnie O'Sullivan. But you know, you've got to be doing it for 30 years to get that many titles.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to be doing it for a long time. And again, going back to Mark Selby, it should be encouraging for him to think, well, you know, my mental health is in the toilet at the moment, but so's Ronnie O'Sullivan's, and he's the best fucking player that there's ever been.
Yeah, and Ronnie's probably, you know, he'd probably say himself, he's sort of come out the other side, really, hasn't he? But then again, you know, watching that documentary and watching him struggle through the final, because, you know, it's not a spoiler. He you know, they follow in the World Championships. He gets to the final, he wins it, and he wins the World Championships for the 7th time, equaling Steve Hendry's record. This was a couple of years ago now. But he goes through phases of the final. He gets a lead in the final and then starts to lose it, doesn't he? I think it is to Judd Trump, isn't it? And you see, you see him come into his dressing room, and he's in bits, isn't he? He's in pieces.
Yeah,
it's like
he's having a full-on panic attack.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and to see like the people around him, because he's got a psychiatrist, I think, that sort of seem to be with him a lot,
that he works with,
and just sort of talk him down, trying to get him to relax, you know, and just go out there.
Well, it's like we talked about when I came to yours the other week. In one of his manic moments, he was considering getting a new hip, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He phoned his dad and said, "I'm thinking about getting a new hip," and his dad said, "Are you fucking nuts?
What for? What's wrong with yours?" "Nothing wrong with mine," he says, "but I think if I get a new hip, I'll be better at snooker." You know, and his mum or dad has to talk him out of it, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's almost like kind of bipolar behaviour, isn't it?
Yeah, really good documentary. If you like snooker, if you like, it covers mental illness a lot, and just sort of sports psychology.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, with his mental health and stuff, he is the way he is, but he's the only person that's done what he's done. So does it take being that way in his head to achieve that much? And, you know, you get the impression through that documentary and stuff you read in the papers and, you know, about the snookers, especially UK snookers governing bodies, not liking him turning down tournaments and not liking him saying this, not liking him saying that. You know, do you get rid of someone like O'Sullivan and just have, you know, the heights that people aspire to just as not being quite as high? Is that better, or is it better to just have someone there that, you know, people really want to reach for? But yeah, it's good. Ronnie O'Sullivan, The Edge of Everything, and that was on Prime, wasn't it? Amazon Prime. Right, the last one we're going to do is on BBC iPlayer. There's 2 series of it, and it's called The Newsreader.
Oh, there's 2 series.
Yeah. Only 6 episodes in each, so it keeps it quite choppy.
Okay. But it's...
How many have you done?
I think it's 3. And it's set in late 80s Australia.
Yeah, 86.
Yeah.
86, I think it is, in Melbourne, the studio's supposed to
be. In Melbourne. And yeah, it's a guy that's working in a TV station, and he's a researcher. He does small bits and pieces, but his end game is to become like the newsreader, like a Ron Burgundy sort of status.
Yeah, he's got aspirations, hasn't he? It's an easy watch, isn't it? And it's got kind of a style to it. I saw one write-up describe it as like Australian Mad Men, even though Mad Men is about advertising world and this is news. But it's good, and there's the odd news story. Well, there's 2 main characters, isn't there? There's the guy you were just talking about, who's called Dale.
Yeah, because he's aspiring to be a newsreader, and like when he's given his big chance, he doesn't quite make it, does he? And he's given his big chance because of the woman that works there, the main anchor lady. She falls out with the big boss, and that's how he gets his chance. But he ends up sort of helping her out, and they end up teaming up, don't they? But she's great in it. She's
fantastic, isn't she? Because she's constantly on the edge of a breakdown, isn't she? We still haven't found out exactly what's happened in her past, but there's been the odd, moment that sort of has alluded to something went on, that why she doesn't talk to her family.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be that they might have had her sectioned or something when she was younger.
There's a bit where her sister turns up to say that one of her parents are ill, and she's not. She just goes in the house and turns the music on. But they've got a good relationship, haven't they? Dale and the newsreader. He's genuinely, he's not sort of bringing her in and being nice to her to try and further his career. He did it because he's just a nice bloke, and she ends up helping him out and giving him guidance and so on. But yeah, she's great. She's a bit mesmerising, isn't she? In it. And
she was in Mindhunter on Netflix. That was really good. She was good in that as well. It's fantastic, isn't it? Whenever she goes on air, she's usually 10 seconds before
she's a mess.
She's an absolute mess, but she just switches like that, doesn't she?
That's what I was going to say. Because the programme covers real events of that time, you almost, like, I know it's not, but it almost feels like a dramatisation of a real story, doesn't it? Because they cover the Challenger rocket exploding when it took off from Cape Canaveral, and they took. So I've been to Australia quite a few times, and that story of the lady who claimed that a dingo took her baby, that's sort of written into sort of the Australian psyche. Anyone knows that story and knows some details of it, and they cover that as well, because she gets released from prison, doesn't she, the lady?
Yeah, they do. In the next one, episode 4, I think it is, there's a bombing in Melbourne, and I looked at, because there's a few things I thought, oh God, that must have actually happened, and they do. If there's ever a major news incident, they do seem to have actually taken from real events, and there was a bombing in Melbourne called the Russell Street bombing in the 80s, in 1986, I think. And they thought it was terrorists at first, because it was a police station.
Yeah.
And it turned out just to be 2 local career criminals. It was just a revenge killing.
Oh, okay.
Killed this woman. She was the first female police officer to be killed in the line of duty.
No way.
Yeah. One of the guys was called Minogue as well. I'm not suggesting there's any kind of connection there, but it's funny, isn't it? You hear Minogue, and there's only 2 Minogues in the fucking universe, but in Australia it's probably
it's like Smith Johnson or something, isn't it? Christmas drinks.
What have we been wetting our whistle with this?
The first one was a bottle that you brought down, which is it made by Harvey's, that 12-year-old sherry?
Oh, yeah.
And that is
sherry.
really, like when we used to drink King's Oak cooking sherry from the shop in Billsborough when we used to,
When we were at,
and used to have to
college.
flavour it with slices of lemon from the canteen. I get the feeling that sherry was a little bit more low grade than the sherry you brought down.
I wasn't actually sure what made a sherry and a port. I did a bit of a deep dive into it.
I don't know what makes a port, but does a sherry have to come from a certain region of Spain called Andalusia?
Yeah, I think so. And port is Portugal.
Oh, of course, yeah. It's just an abbreviation of Portugal, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, but they're both fortified with a spirit, a white grape spirit.
That's it. I remember buying a bottle of port last year and having a look at what made port a port. Yeah, that's brought it all back now, yeah.
Well, it's to separate one from the other. The spirit is added at different times. When you're making red wine that's going to be port, you add the white grape spirit before the wine's properly finished fermenting.
Right.
So, and when you add it, it stops the fermentation. So you've still got quite a lot of the sweet grape flavour in it.
Yeah. Oh, right.
And then you let it carry on. Whereas with sherry, you let the wine completely mature as you would if you were just going to drink it. Then you add the spirit at the end. And if it's a sweet sherry, you use grapes for the wine that are very late season, so they've been on the vine for almost too long, and they're just sugar.
Yeah.
And then sometimes they're dried in the sun as well, so they must be like halfway to becoming raisins.
I was going to say that because that sherry that you brought down really got really fruity, raisiny, sultanery,
nutty, bit of nuttiness in there.
It's a real sort of Christmas sherry, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Waitrose, and I looked it up to see if I could get it anywhere cheaper. There's a couple of quid off it at Waitrose at the minute. It's about 13 quid. And it's only a slim bottle as well. It's only 50 cl rather than 75. But I think it must be exclusive to Waitrose. I couldn't see it on sale anywhere else. There's one they do in Aldi, and it's another slim bottle, a 50 centilitre bottle. And I can't think what it's called. It's like what do they call it in supermarkets? Taste the difference? All I can remember is it's in a blue label. But we normally get a couple of bottles of that. And just one of these Harvey's ones.
What's the Aldi one like? Is it decent as well? Yeah,
it's great. Yeah, it's brilliant. Until we discovered this Harvey's one last year, that the Aldi one was the one that was kind of our go-to, and that's only about £7 a bottle or something.
Yeah, and going to the port, I remember buying a bottle of Ruby Port last year, and I saw it everywhere. I think it was in the Co-op and stuff.
Yeah,
that was nice. Tasted a little bit like Cherry B that we were drinking earlier in the year. You know, some things you like drinking neat, and some things just are great to add to other things. Ruby Port was great to add to the Guinness to give it a bit of sweetness.
Yeah. Well, the thing with Ruby Port is it's nice if you're eating it with something salty, because then that's sweetness.
Oh, yeah.
You know, a big block of Stilton or, really strong cheddar or something. Yeah. But the, which port did I go for? Did you get one?
No, I didn't get a chance in the end.
It's a good one. We've had it before. It's Coburn's, wasn't it? Special Reserve.
Oh, that could be the one I got last year. Yeah.
It's there's a few quid off it at the minute. It's
That's
about
it.
£8 in Asda and Booths if you've got a Booths near you.
It's a decent sized bottle as well, isn't it?
Yeah, full size bottle. I mean, it's £16 in Booths, so that's half price at £8, which can't be sniffed at. But that's nice,
No.
It's like sweet but without being sickly, and you get some proper tangy cheese on the go. You're gonna have a good time with that.
It's rich, isn't it?
Yeah,
rich.
It is. It's it's your long all day sipping drink is your red wine, but when the cheese comes out, you get the port out.
Oh, I can't cope with red wine. I had a bottle a few months ago, and it's the first time I drank a lot of it for ages. But it's just, I don't know. It's a psychological thing with just seeing the word sulfites on the side and just thinking, is this going to give me a really bad headache? And I don't enjoy it enough, I think, to keep on drinking it. It's all right for a one-off.
You can probably get it without sulfites if you pay for organic or whatever.
Yeah, like an organic one.
You'll have to do a test, get a bottle over Christmas, try and find an organic one that hasn't got any sulfates in and see if it gives you a headache. Did you get any snowballs?
Yes. Well, I may have been making my own.
Oh, you with the advocaat?
The advocaat's on offer a few places at the minute. I saw it in Morrison's for quite cheap, about £8 in Morrison's the other day. I think I got
that's pretty good.
Got mine from B&M and it was about 11.
I paid 11 for mine in Booths.
So I've been drinking it neat, And then I looked up the spirit in it, and it's brandy, which was a bit of a surprise. So I was drinking it.
Yeah.
Thinking, that's a strong spirit, and to boost it up to 17%, it's got to be.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, is that vodka? What's that? I can taste in it, but it's actually mixed with brandy. And it's actually like, if you look at the blurb, they don't put this on the bottle, but they actually class it as an egg liqueur. But I don't think it's, like if they put it next to Baileys, like salt caramel Baileys or something. And But what should we get for Christmas? Should we get this loveliness, or should we get an egg liqueur? You
can have it for breakfast, couldn't you? Technically, it's an omelette. Because
I think a lot of people buy advocaat and not really put too much thought about the fact that it's got eggs in, because it's not. Eggs aren't something you associate with a nice alcoholic drink, are they,
No, they do it in cocktails, don't they? They use egg white in sours and stuff like that. But
oh, okay.
Have you just been having it straight, or have you been mixing it with anything?
Both. I've had a few straight, and it's strange how it completely changes the drink if you make it into a snowball and mix it with lemonade.
Yeah.
It really, when you have it neat, it tastes like an alcoholic drink. When you put a little bit of lemonade in, it's suddenly like fun time.
Little party, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've got a cocktail.
This is a custody treat.
It's a custody treat. This cocktail I've come up with. I'm claiming it, but I've not had a look to see if other people have done it. To be honest, they probably have.
I doubt.
And it's rhubarb and custard. And you basically get a tall glass, stick some ice in it, and put 1 part of vodka, 2 parts of advocaat, and then top it up with, what did I say it was called? That Corsten's rhubarb soda.
Right.
So
and the rhubarb soda's not alcoholic. It's just
it's just pop. But it's deer pop. But again, they've got it on offer in Asda at the minute.
What made you beef it up with a shot of vodka in as well?
Well, I think the proper snowball recipe has got an extra shot or something in. If you look up the cocktail, yeah. I don't think it's just advocaat and lemonade. I think there's a shot in there as well of either brandy or vodka. And you're supposed to have a glacé cherry in there as well, aren't you? But
I did see that. Is it a bit of lime juice you mix in it as well?
Don't know. Could be lime or lemon juice.
Yeah, but you worried that it would, curdle the custody loveliness, wouldn't you?
Well, I worried about that, but no, it's absolutely brilliant, this drink. It tastes exactly like a mixture between, the kind of slightly unnatural rhubarb and custard sweets and, an actual rhubarb crumble with custard or something like that. It's proper good, I'm telling you.
I'll have to try it.
It's superb. This Corsten's press.
Yeah, because you'd want to know what a rhubarb pop tastes like anyway, wouldn't you? Do you know what I mean?
That's great. I got 2 boxes of it, so there's potentially 4 to just enjoy on its own and 4 to make cocktails with.
If anyone visits you at Christmas, there's an impressive drink to give someone, isn't it? Here, drink this. This is a cocktail I've invented. Go on, keep drinking it. Keep drinking it. You got to have a pint of it to really get going.
What's your Christmas beer to have in the house of choice?
Anything that's on offer, really. Don't usually sort of bulk buy anything. Just
do you remember when you were about 19 or 20 and Christmas used to come around and all the lads, you used to go on a big fucking jolly up the Asda and just come back with about 8 or 10 24 packs of Stella. The more you got in your trolley, it was like a status symbol, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Have you been to get your Christmas beer yet? Yeah, I've got fucking 600 cans of super under the stairs.
It's a thing with the time of year as well. Like, I don't really drink much lager or beer anyway, but I can't think of anything worse than drinking like cold cans in winter.
Yeah.
I know, like, you have Guinness cold, but
Guinness feels more like a winter appropriate drink, doesn't it?
Yeah. I've got a mate in Australia that drinks stouts during the winter, and then he moves on to Japanese lager in the summer. He's quite
nice, lighter, almost like the sushi of beers.
Yeah, I think because you left some Guinness down here, so I've been making my way through them as well.
Oh yeah, can't have been many.
But it's a nice.
Make sure it's none of the cans I used as a toilet.
Yeah, there was one that was a bit fruity. What about yourself?
Probably just loads of Guinness. Guinness, the odd, port when the cheese comes out, sherry for breakfast, and perhaps a rhubarb and custard cocktail in the evening.
Yeah, you made, aren't you? You've got a little bit of a drinks collection anyway, haven't you? A few leftovers on your drinks. You got a little trolley.
Yeah, we've got loads of stuff on the trolley. There must be 50, probably about 50 bottles of spirits on our.
Oh, wow.
You know, even if you started at one end and tried to work your way right through, it'd probably still take you a fortnight.
When I went to...
Super.
Right.
Well, I think we're probably about done.
I thought you were still talking about drinks for Christmas. Super. Yeah.
Super
Get
it
some
is.
of them in.
Right, on that note.
Sound.
Right, have a good Christmas.
And you, have a great one.
Yeah, love to the family, and I'll speak to you soon.
Sound. See you later.
See ya. Bye-bye.